Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second edition of Talking Walking Football with me, Tony Harris, the Cat, as he is otherwise known, and my good friend Hassan, or as he is on the screen, Galaxy A15 SG. And our special guest tonight is the double winning player manager of Hastings United, Mick Elliott, also known as Peruvian Mick. Hello, Mick.
Thank you.
Good,
Good to see you
good
guys.
evening, Mick.
Right, so here's the thing. I'd like to start this evening with just a little tribute. As we know, our friend Phil Burmingham passed
Yeah,
away
yeah.
not so long ago, and yesterday was his wake, for want of a better word, at the
Mm.
Cutter, which has become something of a Hastings United haunt,
It's
actually.
a venue, yeah.
Um, Now, during the actual celebrations of Phil's life, Hassan, you were there. What was the atmosphere like?
Well, it was very quiet, actually. The family were in the main room where I was segregated. I went into the corner where the referees who seemed to congress over. So John Garrett was there. Mick Davis did come in a little bit later, and Mark Vincent. And Mark Vincent's not been very well, from what I gather, but he was there and recovering from some stuff. And yeah, family was quite quiet. Sandra gave me a photograph of me and Philip, which made me cry. Um, and I didn't cry up until yesterday, but it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster for me, sort of going in there. And I hadn't spoken to Sandra for about 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, I did speak with the daughter, and Henry used to work with me, was in the corner. Chairman Phil came in over to where I was standing with his partner, and then Carol, and they went off to the other room. I believe there was a lot. When I actually left after 2 hours, I think there was a bit of footballers gathering in the other room. So both rooms were packed out. The whole pub was packed, and yeah, there were some photos running in the background of Philip and stuff. And his Arsenal friends also came.
Came
There was
down from
about
London.
eight from London. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd met one of them at the care home where he passed.
Yeah, I
Or
met I met that guy too.
yeah, he was there
I
yesterday.
joined the festivities later. It must have been about 9:30 when I got there because I'd been working away. And by the time I got there, everyone had adjourned and gone back to someone's house, and the only people left in the pub were the four hardened Hastings United drinking quartet, which was Chairman Alan Brown, Wingnut, and Chris Morris, and they were well oiled. I think that's the expression that you would use in polite company. And the hilarious thing is that I went in there completely stone cold sober, set up a bar stool to join their table of four, promptly fell off it and crashed into an old man who was
I think the
drinking at the
wheels
bar
came off the
behind
bus.
me. And it's a good job it wasn't some sort of aggressive bloke who was going to attack me. And they said, he's just come, he's stone cold sober and he's fallen off the seat. Anyway, there we are. So that was Phil. I just want to talk the sort of tail end of the league football. There was a cup match yesterday at Eastbourne where the Hornets went 2-0 up, and
Mm.
they hadn't scored two goals in a match ever, let alone in a long time. They've never scored two goals in a match. Steve Penn was the scorer of both those goals. Imagine being 2-0 up away to Eastbourne Whites in the cup and then losing 3-2. That's a comeback, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Hornets have scored 3 goals all season in the league, so it's pretty good going for
It's
Steve, isn't it? Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? Absolutely
Mm.
crazy. Hassan, did you hear
I
about
spoke,
this match?
yeah, I heard about it. I spoke to Steve Overs this evening actually, and he said they played badly. But it's sort of, I think me and Mick had a conversation about a game we had earlier in the season when we played each other, and it's not that the team played badly. I think Hornets started quite strong and were in the game, and there was chances. I've seen the first half. I haven't seen the second half, but there was chances for Eastbourne throughout the game. But I think Hornets start very strong, and for whatever reason, they seem to fade. And I find it really tragic that they can't see a game out. and I can't pinpoint what goes on, but I've got my own ideas on how to see a game out. To be 2-0 up, it must be very disappointing to lose 3-2.
Yeah,
But Steve
definitely.
Overs is a force.
Oh yeah, of course he is.
Okay.
He's one of the best strikers in the
Yeah.
league, isn't he?
I
Anyway,
think
there
he
we are.
scored.
So that's the sort of the latest news caught up with. So Mick, the spotlight is now being shone firmly on your glistening head, and and the first thing I want to clear up is this. Let me tell you a story. When I was a kid, I was about maybe 11, and we played football in the street. And one of these street footballers was a mate of mine called Graham Goss. And Graham Goss was probably the most skillful footballer in the street gang.
Oh
He
yeah.
was like the street Ronaldo. But here's the funny thing: his parents never bought him a football kit. He played in black slip-on shoes, and he had more skill with the football than any of the rest of us combined. He was a little older. He was probably about 15, 16 when we were playing. But we also had a Sabutio league, an indoor league going, and everyone played Sabutio. Hassan, did you play Sabutio?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, we
Mick,
did.
did you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah, I
Sabutio
played
set?
Subbuteo. Yeah, yeah. My brother
Right,
had his
so
own
you
set.
know what
Yeah,
it's like. You bought your favourite team. Now, here's the thing: the price of a Sabutio football team was £1.75, right?
yeah,
And this guy, Graham Goss, he used to get, for some reason, lots of Leeds United teams and then paint his own colours on them. So he
right.
Hmm.
would paint colours that either Sabutio didn't do or were too complicated to think of. So he had Leeds United teams converted into Celtic green and white hoops. He had Blackburn Rovers with the blue and white quarters,
Hmm.
and he painted the Peruvian national kit on one of these Leeds United things with the beautiful red stripe. Mick, can you just lean back and show us that? There it is, that red stripe going across the body there. And I paid 89 pence for the Peruvian national team that he painted. And I
Yeah.
played that in every match. That was my team. I knew nothing about Peruvian football, nothing, no, not a single name, but that's the team that I played because of Graham Goss. Now, when you arrived at Hastings United a couple of years ago, the first thing that came up in conversation was that you had been Peru and you have been Peruvian Mick ever since. But
Yeah.
what's the story? Who was in Peru? Why were you there? Where did this come from?
Yeah, it's nothing to do with getting a postcard from Peru from a friend or anything. I actually was born in Peru, so yeah, I was born in
Wow.
the Clínica Delgado in the Avenida Angamos in the suburb of Miraflores, suburb of
Wow.
Lima. So yeah, I was born in Lima.
But your parents English or Peruvian
Yeah,
or
so my
what?
dad's English. He was working in an import-export company called Duncan Fox and Company Limited. And my mum started off as a governess in northern Peru in a place called Sullano. And she was looking after some kids up there in a hacienda, very posh hacienda. And they met in Pura back in, I think it was about 1948 and 49.
Yeah.
And they met again in Lima many years later and they hooked up and created myself, my elder brother, and my younger sister. So yeah,
And were you all born in Peru?
yeah, the three of us are born in Peru. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I came back when I was five. I was five on the ship coming over
Hmm.
the Reina del Mar, coming over from Callao to Liverpool actually. So my first port of call was actually Liverpool. So don't tell too many people that, no.
Yeah, yeah, we'll keep that quiet. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
speak, what do they speak? Spanish in Peru?
Spanish, yeah, yeah. So I did obviously speak Spanish when I was younger as a kid, but when I came to it was Middlesex actually, um, it was kind of not the thing because I was a little bit different. So I wanted to fit in, and obviously I suppose I had a bit of an accent or something, and spoke some different words, and so I was keen to forget it actually, which is a bit of a shame. But I do have a little bit of pronunciation and a remembrance of some of the words and stuff. And from time to time, I pick up a Duolingo thing and start to have a go myself. So yeah, I can speak a bit of Spanish, but not great. Like, it's one of the
Yeah.
things I still want to do actually.
Now,
¿Qué pasa?
here's another question. Is it sunny all the year round in Peru?
It's in Lima. It's quite the same temperature, yeah. But so Peru itself has got well, five different regions. You've got the Amazon forest, you've got desert, you've got the coast, which is the temperate area. Yeah, so it's got many regions, you know. So it's obviously got the high Andes and Cusco. So you can go from the desert to the high Andes to the Amazon rainforest to the coastal areas, which are quite nice, really. It's normally around about 20 something in Lima,
Yeah.
and there's a kind of a fog that comes over, so it does like an inversion type of thing. When I went back there, I kind of realized I remembered it. It's sort of like an inversion of light that comes over the city.
Mm. But you weren't like very brown, you because you're very white now, but were you very, very tanned when you arrived in Liverpool?
I think, well, you know, my mum is slightly on the ginger side, so I don't, you know. But having said that, my dad was a little bit darker. But I obviously we liked going to the seaside, so I do think I was um, a little bit darker than perhaps I am now, and I actually
Yeah.
do tan quite easily, so I'm lucky like that.
Well, you're almost translucent, it has to say. You're so
I got a
white.
lamp right here actually, so
That's making you a bit whiter. Hassan, where
yeah.
do you
There
want
we
to
go.
go with our cross-examination of Mick?
Well, no, I was quite taken. I thought that wherever you're born, that's where you're from. You're Peruvian because you was born there. I was born in Cyprus, so I'm Turkish and Cypriot. Even though I was 3 months old when my parents came here, but it's not about me, as Philip would say. So we'll keep it on Mick and not make it about me. But I do get a cultural sort of background to things, and we've all come down to Hastings from different places and connected with football.
But
And
is the football connection the same for all of us? Because with me, it was playing football in the street. Hassan, you had the same thing, playing football in the street. Mick,
yeah,
where was your early football played?
Yeah, so my first memory of a football match was actually in Ireland when I was on holiday there because you just talking there. I think of myself as being half Irish, half English, and all Peruvian. That's my little phrase that I use. But my first memory of a football match was when I was 7 in Ireland. The actual World Cup was going on, and we there was two teams playing, and I was playing in one team there. But I did used to play in the street in Middlesex. We lived in Colindale when we first came over from Peru, and I played at the school as well, the primary school. And I played football all the time actually. Hendon Aerodrome was just up the road from us, so when we used to go up there, we weren't supposed to, but we used to go up there occasionally on the grass there and put the jumpers down for the goalposts and play football there as well.
I mean, did you have kit? Did you have boots and things?
No, it didn't just basically, you know, plimsolls, things like
Yeah,
that.
that's
At that
exactly
sort of
what
age,
you
yeah.
said, Hassan. You're a
yeah, the
Plimsolls boy, weren't
Flintstones. I
you?
mean, I was just a poor boy from a poor family,
Yeah,
you
ding,
know.
ding, 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 ding. Because every time
Yeah,
you say something, we're playing Hassan Bingo in here, and every time you say
yeah,
something we've
yeah.
heard before, I'm going to ring the bell. Here's an interesting thing: Plimsolls in Wales are called DAPs.
Right.
Did you know that? So I played
No, I
in
didn't know that.
DAPs.
No,
That was
No.
the
that's
that's
a
what we
fish.
said. Shall we talk about this season? Um, it has to be said that I mean Hassan is the manager, player manager, so he knows all about this. It has to be said that the double has never been
Yeah.
done in the history of the league. 4 or 5 years, however long it's been going, no one has won the 50s and the 60s. So you're the first guy. There we are. They've revealed the shirt. Look underneath.
Take a bow, Mick.
what
Well done.
what patriotism. So
I mean, I
what's
think
come on, Mick? What's the tell us well, tell us first of all how it felt to win both leagues.
Yeah, it actually felt absolutely marvelous, really. I'll probably say at the start of the season, I didn't think that would happen. I thought we could do very well in the 60s because we weren't too far short last season.
mm,
Um, but the 50s, we haven't done so well recently. And as I understood it, both Bexhill and Eastbourne were recruiting quite well, so they'd strengthen their sides. Actually, we'd strengthen our side as well. You know, you mentioned, you know, got Dale come in, got Colin Fitzgerald come in, so we have strengthened the side as well. But there's no way I thought we would do it, and as the possibility loomed larger, it got very exciting. I actually got quite nervous about it as well. It did affect how I played. I played a lot more defensively this season than I would normally. Normally, I like to express myself a little bit and get a few goals. But this season, I've only actually scored one goal, which is quite unusual for me.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? Hassan, did you? I think, am I right in saying that we did the double? Hastings did the double over Bexhill, last year's champions. We beat them twice, didn't we?
Sorry, they
Was
didn't beat my team twice.
no, no,
Sorry.
no, no, not
No,
your lot. But I'm sure
no.
we beat Bexhill
We
in the
we beat
first
them
match of
once,
the
I
season.
think. Actually, I don't think we beat them twice.
Did you beat
What was
our
the score
Brazilian?
at Hastings when we played Bexhill? Anyone remember?
I think it was something like
It
one
was a
nil
draw.
when we played them at Hastings. Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I actually wasn't playing that game, but I think the Chairs was playing that game and a few others. But and it was like the Alamo, so it was one of those games where you get one goal and then you defend for your
Yeah.
life, sort of thing.
Yeah, I should
Who was
remember it was early
important?
on.
Who was important, Mick, in terms of the playing staff this year? Anyone you want to single out?
Yeah, there's a couple of people. I mean for the 50s. It's the last time we won the league in the 50s. Ricky was in goal. And Ricky's gone in goal this year. He's gone back in goal because he likes to play out on the pitch. And for me, Ricky in the 50s, certainly he's been outstanding. We haven't let many goals in.
Four,
We
isn't
let
it?
we let
Four
three
goals.
goals in, and then they're not. He's letting four goals in all season
Mm,
for the 50s and the
Full
60s.
season.
So
Mm.
It's amazing.
um, so
Yeah.
that's we're built on that really. And then you've got again with the 60s, you've got wingnut Kevin at the back, which is proved he's been the man mountain of the side. And you've got people like Beaky up front that gets you the goals. In the 50s, we've got Colin. Um, so yeah, we've recruited, but other people have actually played quite well this year, better than they normally would. I think Dino's had a very good season. LJ in the 60s, he's played particularly well this year. Um, Dale White, when he played at the back for us in the 50s against Bexhill, it was an outstanding performance. I think he let Alan Osman through once, and then the rest of the game he just controlled him. So there have been a huge few highlights of outstanding performances. But for me, Ricky, he's made the biggest difference, I'd say, and it just goes to show that the last time we played a full season in goal, we did win the league, and we've done it again both in. And he has helped out with the 60s, as you're aware, because you started off in that position, and you've alternated with him on certain games, and he's done very well for us when we've had the more difficult games.
Hassan, you know Ricky better than anyone. Why, when he's without shadow of doubt one of the best, if not the best keeper in the league, why does he prefer to play out?
Ricky is a very humble guy and very talented. I don't know if you've ever seen him with the drumsticks and stuff. He gets very nervous before games. I think he feels when he's playing outfield that he's not under so much pressure because he doesn't want to let people down. And even though all of us get sort of pressure comes into it when it's these matches of importance, and Ricky's one of those that doesn't want to let anyone down. So when he's out on field, I think he sees himself as a striker, and even when he plays out on field, he's pretty good. He's scored some cracking goals. He holds the
Yeah, he
ball
does,
up
yeah.
well, and for the size of him, and he was never always that big at school. I mean, we had a chess champion, a world champion, and apparently he played your guy who used to, what was his name? Andrew, who
Andrew
used to
Fleming.
be a chess champion, and Ricky beat him. And Andrew was a local chess champion. So no, Ricky is a sincere soul, and he's easily hurt. So I've always had to sort of background, even though we're not in the same team. I support him. He rings me up, tells me stuff, and I say to him, "No, you're good. You're okay. Don't worry. Just concentrate. Enjoy yourself." Yeah, and it's all positive. I speak to Ricky most days, as I do with Phil Burmingham and a lot of the guys. And yeah, it's a good network of friendships we have.
Well,
Ricky,
you're definitely the glue that holds a lot of these things together without shadow of doubt.
I
Mick,
mean,
was there anyone else that you wanted to mention? I know that you probably made a list of people who
Yeah, I
needed a
mean,
name
there's
check.
been some things that happened during the season, so that like just take the 60s, which we lost the first game against Battle 1-0, and we drew against Burwash, last year's champions. Um, and then we lost Blakey, so
Well,
things
yeah.
didn't look very, very good at the start for the
Mm,
60s. But um, we've managed to dig in. Sully, Michael O'Sullivan has come in and played a role for us. I managed to recruit Mark Phillips, who I kind of knew from a Monday Night Veterans League. He came in for the 60s well, and actually played in the 50s as well. So he's come in. But yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, Dino played a good season. We've always had dependable Riddler, Ian Brown, to come in. He's always been there supporting us. Um, and it was quite nice that we got Jimbo and Colin back from Battle during the season because
mm.
one thing Colin did, he played against Eastbourne Whites in the 50s, and you talk about Ricky does get nervous. I'm aware of that. And Colin came in for Ricky when he was on holiday, and he was also very nervous. He didn't want to let the side down, but he kept a clean sheet. So that's been great that Colin's come back and done that for us, which is fantastic. And Jimbo's come in. He's played for both the 60s and the 50s. So um, now towards the end of the season, we had Mark Chase come in. Chairs has played the odd game, as has Matty Longshank. So it's been a real team effort. So um, I'm just proud of everybody that's put in a shift really during the
Yeah.
season.
I think there's only two sets of brothers in the league. Am I right? Because there's Riddler and Trigger, and there's
Yeah.
the Over boys. Is that right, Hassan? No other
Jez
brothers, are there?
Overs, that's his sister's son, Jez Overs.
Oh, so they're
But I
not
think there's
brothers. What are they then?
he,
Cousins?
he's his uncle, I think. Uncle from
Oh, oh,
Motherhood.
so he's an older
Yeah,
uncle, is he? Oh, I thought they were
yeah.
brothers. Well, there we are. So Trigger and
There's a
Riddler are the
couple
only
of
brothers
brothers.
then.
No, Bob the Butcher.
Yeah,
He plays at Bexhill,
yeah.
and his brother. I don't know his brother very well. I've met him once or twice. He plays at Eastbourne, but
Does he?
they're coming
Oh,
up to 70s, 80s
oh,
now, so they're
good.
in the older
Oh,
sector.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah, the
that.
butchers. There's his name's not Bob the Butcher, is it? Bob. Oh, I
Well,
can't
he's
think of his
known as
surname now.
everyone knows it. That's the thing. We're all known by everyone as our nicknames. If you say the cat, people know who you're talking about. If you say Peruvian Mick, they know they're talking about you because there's lots of Micks. Talking of that, I've got a question for you, Mick. Now, you had a heart attack, and
Yeah.
when the news goes round,
Yeah.
as it does, like the sort of, the Chinese, Mick's had a heart attack, Mick's had a heart attack, everyone immediately thinks, poor bugger, that's it. He'll be in a wheelchair next and puffing on some sort of device to help him breathe. But you made something of a miraculous recovery. How long was it from having the heart attack to playing? It was like a couple of weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 6 weeks between the heart attack and I had 3 weeks in hospital and playing for the 50s again. Yeah.
It's absolutely extraordinary. And where does that? You mean obviously you're a very fit man, but is it some sort of inner strength that you call on?
I think I was actually told the fitness had a big thing because when you're fit and when you're doing exercise, you're putting your heart under strain, and a heart attack is actually putting your heart under a strain. So my heart was able to cope with that because it'd been used to being put under strain. So I didn't suffer too much damage. There is some damage apparently, but it's not major. But having said that, they found that not just the one artery, but all three arteries had some blockages in there. So I had the original artery that was blocked for the heart attack, unblocked with a pipe cleaner type approach.
Yeah.
And in the end, I had two stents put in the other two major arteries.
Wow.
I was lucky that, again, because I'm fit and looked after myself, the arteries are quite flexible, so I'm a very good candidate for a stent. And they weren't too narrow, although I was quite well heavily blocked in terms of percentage wise. I was 95 in one and 90% in the other. Because they were quite narrow, I was able to have the stents done, and I call it. I'm now on full flow, so and also the heart was also finding other ways to get blood around the system because again to do with fitness as well. So yeah, I was always there, and I was careful, but I managed my recovery, and I follow the programs. You get things to do to um, for your recovery. You do this in week one, do this in week two, and I followed it quite religiously. So yeah, I managed to